up here, and we're mostly not going to be looking at me. So it doesn't really matter that you can't see me because it's full sun out here right now. But so many of you told me that you'd like to take a look at the front yard with me and get an understanding of what that's going to look like once we create the different microclimates up here. And I've got, and I'm going to show you just in a second. I'm going to kind of briefly let you see what the notes are that Christy gave me. But instead of just trying to show you there or just point and being like over there, over there, over there, I've kind of set up some visuals for you so that you will be able to kind of better see the vision with me. Okay, so I'm going to flip around now. And I don't know if this is where the best spot is to show this. Maybe we'll go back. So this is kind of the basics of what it looks like. And again, it's kind of hard to see in the sun and not so fun to just point at. So I'm going to start over here at the front of the yard, just kind of making my way backwards. And then we're going to talk about, kind of break down the information that she gave me. So this is an ash tree, just like what we have in the backyard. It's actually the sucklings of it, because if you can see, the big stump of the original tree was there. So all those side pieces, and we're mostly keeping that for the girls because they like to play over there right now. So eventually that won't be here. And then these are what we believe to be an ornamental, what is it called? Makes the red pomegranates. So this part of the yard, now I'm all the way out here to the berm. So even though this seems good because this is maybe a shade tree and this could provide some shade, ultimately it's not so great because this is the east. And so what these shade trees actually do are block really good morning light from coming into the yard. And then in the afternoon, what they create is hot zones. So right here in front of the pomegranates is a hot zone in front of the tree, and then over there on the other side of the tree. And so eventually I can work with that, but right now they're just what they are and how they're going to be. And the reason why they become hot zones is because when the sun is over here on the west, then everything over here is beating hot. And I have definite evidence of that because the kids play out here during the summer. And even though I'm always like, why aren't you playing on the other side of the tree? It's because it's hot right there. It's really hot. And as the sun gets over there, they want to migrate up to the front porch, which is fine, but that's even hotter than anywhere else. So now as we move across the berm, you're going to kind of start to see some of the visuals that I've created for you, and I'm going to explain those more to you. So you can see the bale up there, and the bale is really in a very poor spot based on microclimates because it's gonna get, like right now it's perfect, it's an ideal spot for it, but come summer, spring, when that tree starts to fill back out, then it's going to be casting a shadow that could kind of be okay, but then in the afternoon nothing's going to be protecting that bale other than maybe shade cloth. I'm going to have to figure something out. So again, as we go this way and we get kind of lined up with the driveway, you can see there's 4 red buckets here. So the red buckets represent deciduous trees that are going to get real full and have big canopies, if you will. So an example of that would be like the fig tree or a mulberry or any number of deciduous trees that you can think of. Those are just ones that I can eat food from that I think of. So then when these 4 trees are established, you can see the little white waste baskets. Those are citrus trees. So there's 3 citrus trees, and then the shade from the deciduous red buckets create the sheets or beds. You know, they're representing what will then be a magic zone once these trees are mature. So yeah, so that gives me 4 beds. And then once the citrus gets bigger, that creates 3 more hot spot or magic spots out here in the yard that are going to get protection from the west sun. And then they're going to get that nice morning sun coming in and giving them all the energy that they need to go throughout the day. And then another thing is that in the fall and winter, when these deciduous trees lose all their leaves, that's prime citrus time. So they're going to be given all the sun and all the glory to the citrus trees. And again, these 7 beds that will be here are going to love being out here in the middle of this front yard, getting all this awesome sun in the winter time. Now, eventually, I can continue with my trees over here, you know, like on the other side of these 3 magic spots in future beds. But for right now, the kids play, and I don't want to take away their ability to play. So really, in the next couple years, we might not even see these front 3 beds appear, because we all like to do stuff out here. So that keeps this area freed up. And even though these are major hot zones over here, that's not to say that I couldn't do things that would do well over there. There's milkweeds that do well there. There's different desert type plants. But this is where the evolution is going to come from. It's going to come from these deciduous trees, then the citrus trees, and that's going to enable us to get food from the trees and get food from the beds. And you might be thinking, you know, you've got a backyard full of plants, but there's all different kinds of plants that I want. So that's why I'll need more than just the things that I've got growing right now. So in the interim, I'm not a chicken eater, but we do go through, you know, a couple dozen or more eggs a week. So I love the thought of getting a chicken tractor out here that could kind of rotate over these different empty spaces, which would probably also mean that eventually we might put a temporary, just kind of like, you know, a simple fence. That way if and when we let the chickens out, then they're not getting over here into any of the beds that are there. So that's really the gist of what the plan is. And like I said, I hope that, and I'll kind of go this way so you can see an idea of how it looks from this spot over here. And my neighbors to the west have some large dead cissos in their yard. Cissos have very evasive roots, so this is just about as far where these red buckets or my deciduous trees, this is just about how far I want to go with anything. That I don't want to go over the berm, because that way I'm keeping water away from the cissos, because they'll leach over here with their roots in an effort to get my buckets or get my deciduous trees, get the water from everything that's going on over here. And this pepper thing, even though it looks so cool, it's gonna go. So to close out, I'll just give you a sweet little look at my bale, and I hope that this little tour of my future plans to set up my food forest are helpful to you. And I hope that you're having the best day ever. And thanks so much for stopping in. And I'm sorry if anybody commented while I was talking. Like I said, the sun is so bright, it was really hard to even see what was going on with my screen. So if you've got any questions, drop them down in the comments now, and have the best day ever.